Hi, this is Dorothy Smith. So today I'm going to make another spinner card. I don't have my feet fully on the ground with this yet, but I decided that since I got this new stamp set, it's a Stampin' Thin Cut set with a plane and clouds. It's a really cute little biplane. My husband is building a plane in the garage, and so I thought this is a great stamp set for stuff for him. So I got out my spinner card pieces, and it makes a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card. So I got one of my value pack cards and envelopes, and the front part of the spinner card is just slightly smaller than the 5 1/4 by 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I cut a piece that's that size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you see, it's time to change my blade. Look at that fuzz coming off of the edges of that paper. That means it's time to change your blades, ladies. And so, as much as I love my rail Fiskars cutter, I adore it. It's the best Fiskars I've had so far. It's a little difficult to change the blade, so you have to put the blade point in. There's a little notched area at both ends of the rail, but you have to push the blade towards the notch, not to the back, but towards the notch, so towards the numbers. And I'm throwing that out. I put the protective cover on there, and I'm throwing it out so I don't get confused with having a blade around. So I'm going to get rid of my fuzzy edges here. And, I needed to change that blade because I've been noticing how fuzzy my cuts have been. So anyway, now they're nice and sharp. And the fuzz is gone. The fuzz is gone. Whoa. Okay, so anyway, you cut the paper, or you can leave it long if you want to. And I am using see, I cut it so close that what I'm going to do is use washi tape to stick it together so the the thin cut does not slide off of the paper. So I'm just going to put a little piece on each side to make sure that I don't get a wonky cut. So here's my new thin cut cutter. So I'm taking the blade out of the little thing, and you push that little thumb thing down while you're putting it in. So you want to hold the twirly thing away from the side of the cutter, and then it fits right in. So you put the plate down on the thick board, and then you put the gray cutting mat on top of it. And I'm using the shim, which I really don't have to do. I could dial it thicker for a closer cut with the dial on the side. And so, you know what I love about it? I've told you I love this cutter because it cuts everything so sharply that none of the little pieces remain, even in like the little lace pieces. They just fall out. So I love that. So there's a nice stitched edge around the card, around the front piece. I'm taking the washi tape off. I don't really have to because it's kind of pulling the paper up. I've maybe put it on a little too. I think it got squished on there from the running it through. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to do is there's the spinner, and there's the part that helps the spinner to spin. So I'm going to get a longer piece that I think that a bigger wheel is like 4 inches wide, so I'm making it a little bit wider than 4 inches, and I'm just placing it over. Since I've got more play, I'm not taping it with washi. So I'm just going to carefully put it on on top of there, and try to not move the little adapter boards around. So you pull out on those, on that part, and then it allows you to pull it up. Okay, so there are my two spinner pieces. So I'm just going to put those back so they don't get lost. And actually, I'm going to redo that one, but you'll see that later on. So there's my two round pieces, and I am going to stamp the words that I want to use. Now, what you have to notice is when you're looking at the surrogated larger circle, there's an inner circle, so you see it punched a hole in the center, but there are little dented marks on the inner circle. There's a little dented circle. We see I'm making little hash marks there because just so I can see where the hash marks are. And you go ahead and go through the center and make 3 lines from one end to the other. And so then I'm going to stamp the words that I want to use. So, I'm thinking the way they have that in the instructions, it says to put the spin me right on top of the words. But I ended up having to redo, shoot. Hold on. Sorry about the phone. It kind of has you putting the spin me on top. So I'm picking out words that are perfect for going flying. So sunny and perfect and bright are the words that I'm going to use that will show up in the little window. But I think it says that the spin me goes on top, but I end up putting them in the alternate area later on because the spin doesn't show up. So I don't know that that's correct. Anyway, you can always do, add the spin me in each of the segments. That's no problem. If you do it in each of the 6 segments, that's Ginger making noise, then it just says spin me while you're going around, and that is good. That's just fine. So I am going to put all of the words that I want to use. I think that you could put more than just 3 if you wanted to. You could put, more in there if you wanted. So they're just showing, they're showing 4. So, and I'm just doing 3. Yeah, you can definitely put more in there. I don't know why I did 3 instead of 4. Anywho, now I'm going to put the little spin me, the little teensy spin me on the edge. So maybe it works better if you do 4. Is maybe what I'm thinking. Anyway, I think I'm going to have to make another card because, like I said, I'm just getting my feet on the ground with this, and it's a little confusing. The instructions are a little confusing to me. But anyway, I've got these little brads. I've been in scrapbooking since the buttons and brad days, so I've got a whole bunch of those. So I pulled out, didn't have to buy another set of brads. I just am using, some ones that I have in my stash. And so I am connecting the small circle to the big circle on the back side. And it doesn't matter. You just want to have it be loose enough that it's free to spin around without a problem. It's a little confusing. I mean, I will say I get a little confused doing this. So you have to have the placement under the window just right. So now I'm erasing the lines with my that fun rubber thing that takes glue off, and it's an eraser. It does all sorts of good things. So it's definitely good to have around. Anyway, just getting rid of my lines. And the color, what am I using? I'm using Caroline, I think, because it's a good color for sky blue. Now, the other things I'm going to do is add the top greeting, and it says wishing you, and then you put like perfect, and then down below you put day. And I was going to stamp it down below, but then I thought, I don't know where that's supposed to go because I've got to put my clouds and my rainbow first. So I confused myself. What I really wanted to do, I wanted to have a rainbow that was really a rainbow. You know, the Roy G. Biv colors. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. And they just have the 3 pieces with a line down the center of each piece. And they don't really have you doing a real rainbow. They have you doing like 3 different colors, like in the instructions there. And I don't know, I just wanted the real rainbow. I don't know why. So I was going to do it with my watercolor pencils, but it came out kind of sloppy looking. And so I decided to do it with markers, but I needed to have a go-by. So what I did was I went and got the lightest color that we have, which is linen. So it's a pale, pale, pale gray. And so I thought, well, if I have that, if I do that, so I kind of put the pieces in place, and then I stamped them with the light linen, so you can just barely see it. So I thought that would be my go-by, and I would use my color pencils and then blend it. But I don't know, maybe my blender pen is not acting right, but it didn't blend very well. So don't know what to say about that. Hopefully your blending pen is in better shape than mine is. Or maybe, you know, I did not use watercolor paper for the that piece, and maybe that's what I should have done, was to use the watercolor paper. Maybe that would have worked better. So I didn't do that. And now I'm making my little clouds at each end of the rainbow, and I'm just doing them in, might be pebble, little gray edge on the clouds. I didn't make a red edge like they show in the instructions because I'm thinking I need to be realistic, which you don't. And I'm cutting them out because we did not have, or at least I don't have the, if there's a die cut with this, I didn't get it with the die cut. It may have been out because of the Stamptacular. So I just got the stamp set. But the clouds aren't hard to cut out. I mean, they're not a big deal. It's nothing intricate like some of the things that you really want to get the thin cuts for. And they do save time, my goodness. So anyway, there are my clouds. And I will pop those up with some of my foam dots. And so since there's the rainbow, I can kind of see that where the day is supposed to go to have it look good. So I'm thinking that everything's okay. And I'm putting it down, and then I end up pulling it up and using, I think this is where I cut out, and don't use the pencils. You know, I really love using the pencils. And I've usually have a pretty good ease of getting them to blend. Maybe it had something to do with the ink underneath. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. what it is. And maybe the thing to do is to just stamp it in 3 colors. Stamp your rainbow in 3 colors and don't be realistic. See all those gorgeous colors? I mean, you can really make a good rainbow with those colors. Okay, so here I am back to not the complete beginning, but I'm doing another rainbow. Go by in linen. And this time I'm going to use the, let me just take it. Just believe me that the pencils didn't work out very good. So I am just using the light side of all of the markers, just so you know. The dark was just way too dark, and the light side had the more of the shade that I was going for. And so I'm doing my red and orange together. And I kind of decided that I was really hoping that when I blended it, that it would soften the edges and soften the line between. So, like I said, maybe if you use the watercolor paper, it works better. I think it's pulling too much color off now that I'm looking at it. It just pulled too much red off. That's why it looked funky. Huh. It's funny how you can see things while you're doing them, I mean, on the video that you don't see when you're actually in front watching it. Yeah, it pulled too much color off. So that's why it looked weird. But I end up going over it a little bit more. I add more color to them after I use the blending pen. And they looked a little bit better. But, you know, the edges aren't totally smooth. And I think it's just better to work with the stamp as it is and do just the 3 colors, you know, your choice of colors to go with your, you know, other colors that you're using. But anyway, the markers are nice, and they've got really nice colors with them. I don't get such, well, like I said, I was really hoping for the blending pen, the blending tool to, you know, just kind of soften the edges. You don't really want a defined edge on a rainbow, but I was really looking for kind of a softer edge, just kind of a diffuseness, and I did not get it. So, not sure why. But she continues on. So, like I said, I'm getting my feet on the ground with these spinner cards. It seems like they're coming out with more designs to make different spinner cards. So hopefully I'll get better. I'll get better at doing them. Yeah, it just takes too much color off. That's what the deal is. So the blending pen works fine, but it just pulls too much color off. I don't know why. Huh. Okay. I get it. I'm not I'm not great at coloring, as you can see. Having to add color back onto my rainbow after I took so much of it off. I think I do better with flowers than the rainbow. Okay. There's my rainbow. Wonky as it is. Let me fill out some red. So just so you know, the red has the longer wavelength, so it's on the outside, and the violet has the shorter wavelength, so it's on the inside. Just a little point of science there. The colors didn't really blend as much as I thought they would have, especially on those between the colors. Anyway, there's a rainbow. Every rainbow needs some clouds. So there's my cloud there, and there's my cloud there. And that rainbow stamp has those little bitty hearts that are so cute with it. And now I'm going to put the wishing you again. Wishing you a whatever kind of day. And I'm using my wet, it's kind of like a chamois to clean off my stamps. So there's that. So now it's time to figure out how to put this whole thing together. So I put the pop-up dots on the back side of the small circle, and that is going to, I was going to put it, well, there we go. I've got a piece of, I think that's Carolina. Now this is really going to, it's such a bright color. So that's going to be my full background, which will show up just a little touch around the card. So you want to put your Pop-Tarts on the corners, because you want to have it lifted up above so everything can move smoothly. And everything is moving smoothly. So it's a matter of getting the placement. So at first I put, thinking that was the way to do it. Well, that's not the way to do it. So, because I pull this off, and it's not like I moved it a whole lot, but it just didn't work out right. So that wasn't good thinking. So I'm going to pull it off and put some more foam dots on the back side there, because how many layers of foam dots can you have, really? So the other way I've figured out how to do it is to put the pieces together and then take all the backings off of the foam dots and then put them down all at the same time. That way you've got a better lineup. So I'm just lining things up. So there's my wishing you a perfect. So you can't tell because I've zoomed in with the video. I am pulling off those things. There we go. And then I'll make sure that I haven't moved it around. So the little spinner is showing up and the word is looking like right in the right place. And then you slap it all down on the background. And there we go. So, ta-da. Now, what I was going to do is there's all sorts of cute little stamps on that rainbow stamp. There's like a little sun and a little happy face. Oh my goodness, they're adorable. But I am adding more spin me's on the edge. And so it's so tiny so whenever a word pops up, then I add my spin me. Because that just, now you can say, see, spin me here. But on the plain, see, the plain he's just too big for the front of the card. Would shoot. But there's some great sayings. You're going places. The sky's the limit. Let your dreams take flight. There's all sorts of really nice sayings on that card. And so I am going to use the let your dreams take flight, but I'm going to put it inside the card. And I'm using my Carolina blue, whatever it is. Let your dreams take flight. And what I'm going to do is, now I could have done a thin cut of the plain. But this time what I'm using is, I'm going to try the pebble first and see how dark it is. So I'm just going to put that on my envelope. And it's light, but it's a little bit darker than I wanted. So what I'm going to do is, I wanted to put the plain over let your dreams take flight. So I'm using the linen, which is just super, super light. It's almost like a second generation. And I am placing, see how faint that is? But that's just the effect that I wanted. And then on the front, I'm going to put, because we've got clouds and a rainbow, I'm putting the sky is the limit on there. So I think Jim will really like this card. Anyway, thanks for watching, ladies. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and add a comment below, and let me know whether you like it or what you'd like to see done. And I will have all the information of where you can get all this stuff in the comments below the video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.